Today is August 31st, 2010. Good evening. I'm Eric Hackley, and this is Hackonomics. Tonight, we're going to do our best with another somewhat difficult issue. Forever, people have been talking about doing family reunions, and they just don't really appreciate the importance of having reunions. Every year, every other year, families need to do this, and to kind of help me put the family reunion concept in perspective, I'll be joined by Ms. Tracy Robinson. Tracy, welcome to the show here.
Thank you, Eric.
We have somewhat of a difficult subject to talk about. We're going to talk about love, or as close as we can get to this.
Yep.
I understand that 20 years ago you had a sweetheart in high school.
Yes.
And what was it about this guy that you met 20 years ago that attracted you so much to him?
It was his heart, the way he treated me.
And he treated you better than all the other guys back when you were in high school, and
yeah.
He wined and dined you and things like that?
Yes.
And then like so many couples do, you get together.
Yeah.
And you apparently created an offspring.
Yes.
Just having a child 20 years ago, 21 years ago, how did you handle that? Did it traumatize you in any kind of way, or how did you handle that?
It didn't at the time. I mean, he's a beautiful, smart kid. I mean, he's smarter than his own parents ever would be. He knows where he wants to go, knows what he wants to do.
And when you were in high school, at that point in time, did you think about the idea of marriage, or you said that you'll wait a little while longer?
Well, actually, we were talking about getting married, and then we didn't because I ended up pregnant during high school, and he didn't know, and I took off.
And he had wondered where you were and everything like that?
Yes.
So, and I understand now, within the past month or so, you met him again.
Yes.
How did you guys get together the second time around? I mean, 21 years later, that's kind of hard to imagine.
It is, but in another way, it was meant to be. I mean, this is something that I was wanting to go through. I've been looking for him for that long, and he's been looking for me, but he was married for 15 years, and I was already married to somebody else for 11, and then another one for 6, and that's how we kind of like ran into each other off and on. He knows about his son, but that's about all the further it is. He hasn't seen him, he hasn't met him.
So you saw this guy. Was it love at first sight again?
Yes, it was. Because the emotions that I had still back even when I was married, I just tried to let that go, and it wasn't going to go nowhere. Because he was still in my heart.
And you were even discussing marriage recently.
Yes, we were.
So how did things get weird on you?
I decided one day to say, I hope to God you weren't adopted, and he came to flat out and said that he was, and it came to find out he was my brother after 21 years.
And when you found out that this guy was your brother, I mean, is this what he told you, or did you find out through your own research?
We found out through the research. Plus his date of birth and my mom's paperwork, it all was 100%. So it's kind of like it took a piece of my heart and just totally ripped it out of me. And now he's moved on, now I have to move on. So he's taking it better than I did.
When he first found out, what emotions did you experience? What kind of crazy ideas or what kind of sane ideas did you have during that period?
Oh, that nothing was going to stop us from being together, but now it has. Because he wants to move on and just get to know me as his sister. And I want to get just to know him as my brother. I mean, it hurts, yeah, but in the process, I'm glad we found him. Because that's one less brother that we have to find.
When as you look back, did you all resemble at all?
Back then, no.
I mean, you know, it's kind of frightening because as I look back, I've dated girls who resemble me, but they weren't family though. How did you? So did you guys have a lot in common at that point?
Yeah, we didn't even realize it back then. We knew that we were adopted, but we just didn't know who was who. But in the process, I wasn't, back then, we were still young and naive. And we weren't just out there looking for our parents. We were actually in love.
So now, okay, now you were adopted too. How did, at what point did you start looking for your mom?
I started looking for her when I was 6. I was told at 6 years old I was adopted, and I had a 9-month older brother.
And at this time, I mean, you were 6. How did you get the idea at 6? I mean, you were just asking questions, you know, where's my real parents?
No, my adoptive parents just came out and told me. So back then, being 6, not understanding what that was, I think it was just too soon for an adoptive parent to actually tell their child that they were adopted. But in another way, it helped because I knew somewhere or somehow I was going to find my real parents.
So that desire reawoke itself when you were 6 years old. But in terms of being able to contact or know the right things, you know, go to the internet and that kind of thing, how did that develop?
That didn't develop until later on. I think it was like a couple of years ago I started hitting the internet pretty hard looking for families through the family tree and stuff. I mean, there's still my brother Forrest that we're still looking for. There's like our dad that we're still looking for. I mean, we have that right to see our dad now. Whether or not he accepts the idea that we're here, that's his choice. But we want to be able to tell him how we're feeling.
So now, how did you find out? Now, how many of you are there?
There's 6 of us. 2 of them stayed with my mom while 4 of us were adopted.
And, I mean, when you found your mom, she told you about the 2 that she had with her.
Yes.
And she told you that you have more out here scattered someplace.
Yes, there are more brothers and sisters out here by my dad.
Is your mom curious to find these people?
Yes, she is, but she's not showing it as much as me and my brother and my sisters are. I mean, my older brother, me, and my little sister and my little brother were the 4 that are actually looking. My other older sister that's in Florida can't because she's got kids of her own with nieces and nephews with the grandbaby. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit harder for her to look. But I have family here in town that's actually looking up information for all of us.
Now, has your mom seen your dad in the past years?
No. He actually married somebody else. But he called her, I guess, like in April before I came home and said that he wanted to come to Fort Wayne, meet me, see her, be with her, but we haven't seen or heard anything from him. So we don't know what's going on.
Well, that's still a good sign, even for him to come that far and express that desire.
Yeah, it is.
So now, do your other siblings have as much enthusiasm about getting the entire unit together as you?
Yes, we are. Because all of us want to know our brothers and sisters. And it's only fair to us.
So, have you had a chance to really sit down and have a long heart-to-heart talk with your mom?
Off and on, this week has been one of those hectic weeks. She's not wanting to listen to anything that I have to say. It's like she's more into my older brother than with me right now. So.
But curious now, how did you make contact with her? What did you do?
I was pregnant with her granddaughter at the time, and my cousin Michelle and her boyfriend found my mom, knew who she was, knew where she was, took me to her because I had just found out I was pregnant with a girl, and went there, gave her my date of birth, and she just bursted out crying. I bursted out crying because the whole entire time I've always thought she was dead, because that's what my adoptive parents told me.
Why did they tell you that?
I think because they didn't want me to find them, because they wanted me to stay with them as their only child that they ever had.
Did you have a happy childhood with them?
No, I did not.
Now, with okay, now that you've found your mom and you guys are trying to get things worked out, what questions do you have for your mom that you either haven't had a chance to ask or she won't allow you to ask?
Why she gave us up basically is the reason what my sister Julie wants, my brother wants, I want to know, because we don't understand why. I mean, we understand why she gave Forrest up, because she was in prison. That's a different story. She had no choice. But still, that's still another brother out there that we need to find, because that's our other brother.